Alaska Airlines has teamed up with Hawaiian Airlines to create new nonstop international flights. Go to alaskaair.com or hawaiianairlines.com, and I'll tell you more details later in the show. Welcome to The Leftovers. I'm Rachel Bell. The Leftovers is audio left on the cutting room floor from last week's Your Last Meal interview. And today, you'll hear never-before-heard cuts from comedian Paula Poundstone. What would you choose to eat for your last meal?
Well, probably my favorite food in the world, ringdings. One of the shocking things when I first went to grocery stores in California was that they didn't have ringdings. And I kept asking, and they'd go, well, what's a ringding? And then when I would describe it, well, it's a chocolate devil's food cake with a creamy filling and a rich, tasty chocolate outer coating. People would go like, oh, like ding-dongs.
Oh, is a ding-dong the same as a ring-ding?
No, to me, these are fighting words.
That is a clip from last week's episode. I also interviewed the pastry chef and owner of New York City's Ring Ding Bar. Madeline Lanciani bakes fancy ringdings in 25 flavors, and last week she mailed me 6 of them, and whoa, oh my God, they are so good. So good. Of course, she does the classic chocolate cake with vanilla cream frosting enrobed in a dark chocolate shell, but by far my favorite was the pistachio raspberry. Incredibly tender, dense pistachio cake, pistachio cream filling, and a layer of homemade raspberry jam. Madeline ships across the country, so if you're looking for a special sweet treat, check out all her flavors at ringdingbar.com. Okay, so that was last week's episode. I recommend you listen to that first. But if you're all caught up, let's jump into the leftovers with Paula Poundstone, starting with a speed round. What would be your perfect birthday cake / perfect birthday dessert?
Oh, perfect birthday cake. Well, when I was a kid, I was always offered, my mother could make me a cake with an icing on it where they write your name, which is really intriguing as a kid. But my favorite cake was pineapple upside down cake. But what you had to do away with was you didn't get your name on a pineapple upside down cake.
But you got all those cherries.
Well, I don't really like the cherries, but I love the brown sugar and I love the canned pineapple. So I think I would go with a pineapple upside down cake, but I would insist on there being like a layer above it where they could put my name.
I love it. What is your favorite holiday dish?
Ooh, well, I would say Three Musketeers bars.
Oh, for Halloween.
Yeah.
What holiday is that?
Yeah. Halloween. Three Musketeers, the fun size, by the way. The regular ones are just too goddamn big. What do they call it? Like the snack size ones or whatever? Those little
fun size?
No, the fun size.
Oh, those like super teeny one bite
super teeny ones. And they're in wrappers.
Yeah.
The energy that it takes to open the wrapper, it doesn't make worth what's inside. And it's not the proper distribution of the fluffy, not stuffy interior and the chocolate outer coating. You have to have a fun size, I think, for that to be the case. It's the same thing with the big one. It's too long. There's too much fluffy, not stuffy, and not enough chocolate coating. You can see
you've thought about this. Yes,
a lot of people probably just, throw out yams and that's it, and then you move on. But for me, I've really given this a lot of thought.
Your family's from Alabama. You were born there. You were swiftly moved to Massachusetts as a baby. Your mom cooked Southern food. What was a dish from your childhood that you loved?
String beans. Because, I learned this the hard way. The first time I ever went to a friend's house and they said they were having string beans at dinner. Now, A, it wasn't the main course. In our house, it was a main course.
Yeah.
A, it wasn't the main course. And B, there were these horrible things that were really hard to cut. If you cut them with your fork, half your string bean shot off the plate in the other direction. A New England string bean is dour, like a pilgrim, like a Puritan.
Yeah.
You got to go south for a good string bean, or at least to a Southern cook. My mother made string beans. We'd snap them, the day before, and she would cook them all day long in a pot with a thing of pork fat, like a cube of pork fat, it was about the size of a baseball. By the time they were served, they were not really substantive. They weren't shaped like a string bean anymore at all. It was sort of a mash by the time they were served. And it turns out what I really was enjoying was the pork fat.
Mm-hmm.
The string bean itself, I didn't much care for. But that is probably my favorite Southern meal. I try to stay away from, I swing vegan when it's convenient. I cheat a lot. My daughter tells me I'm a chegan. I wouldn't actively search this out any longer, but I certainly did enjoy it, which is chicken and dumplings.
Ooh, yeah.
I think Cracker Barrel Thursdays maybe has chicken. It's interesting that they don't have it every day of the week, because if you ate it every day of the week, you would die.
You would die. Yeah.
And they would have a terrible lawsuit on their hands. They were also the company, Cracker Barrel, that were discriminating against gays in their hiring. They got popped. And as far as I know, they don't do it. I don't know. I haven't been to one in years. But as far as I know, they don't do that anymore. And I always thought it was so stupid. If you're going to be enough of a bigot that you won't allow a gay person to wait your table, then you're going to be eating at a lot of cafeterias.
Yeah, that's like saying, I don't want to watch a Broadway show if there's any gay people in it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, definitely. It just seemed like such a silly thing. As far as I know, again, that was years ago. There was a lawsuit. As far as I know, they have remedied the problem.
Good. My friend who's from Georgia but has lived on the West Coast for a long time, she missed Chick-fil-A. And so when she would go back east, she would get Chick-fil-A. But since they also, a religious company and discriminate against gays or gave money to causes, she did what she called Chick-philanthropy, and she would donate the amount of money she spent on the food to Planned Parenthood. And I just love the pun great. So much that the donation is secondary to how good the pun is. It's just perfect.
Yeah, it's as if it was made for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Chick-philanthropy. I like that.
I mentioned earlier that Madeline Lanciani was on last week's show. She is owner of the Ring Ding Bar. But for the past 30 years, Madeline has also owned Duane Park Patisserie, a traditional French and Austrian-style bakery. And she's baked treats for presidents, princesses, and all kinds of celebrities. Madeline spills the tea about the time Martha Stewart's people reached out to her.
Her staff contacted me about doing a cake for her. I think it was the first volume called Martha Stewart's Weddings. It's an old book. Her staff contacted and they wanted us to do this elaborate cake, and they didn't want to pay.
What?
They said, well, you'll get credit in the book. And when they sent their contract over, there was no assurity that it would be in the book. So I said, you mean I have to make you a cake and spend all this time and money, and I don't even know if you're going to use it, and you won't pay me? I said, how about if you pay me, and if you use it, then we can swap the credit. No, we don't do business. After all, it's Martha Stewart.
That is unbelievable. That is truly unbelievable.
And I said, well, after all, she doesn't pay my rent.
Wow.
Guess what? Our cake ended up in the book anyway, because she went to one of the top premier caterers at that time, Glorious Food, and she had a whole segment with them about their weddings. And Glorious Food bought a cake from me and paid me. And so my cake was in the book, but at least I got paid.
Oh my God, I love that happened.
All of the other publications that I've ever been in, you name it, New York Magazine, New York this, blah, 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 blah. It was the norm. They paid you, and if it didn't run, you got the money. But she just decided, or her business person, I'm not saying, she's the face of her business. So I say she. Her team or management team decided that it was just an honor to be nominated.
Back to Paula.
Thank you very much. It was really, really fun. Okay, wait, I have to tell you one more story.
Tell me.
Okay, so my son, and he probably had his reasons, but growing up, a lot of tantrums, nothing was ever quite right. Just there was a reason every day for him to go off over something. So one day, he was still in elementary school, and they knew that we were going to go camping. It was a weekend. So I was picking him up after school on a Friday, and I had the whole car packed up. The van, and I'd gone grocery shopping, and of course, tons of junk food for a camping trip, because I'm the mom. So at one point, I could feel him sort of getting agitated, and he was sort of looking around, I think, for something to be angry about. So he looks into this grocery bag where I have marshmallows. Who doesn't love the idea of roasting marshmallows? I don't even like eating them all that much, but roasting them is fun.
That is what camping is.
Yeah, exactly. So he looks into the bag and he sees a bag of marshmallows and he yells, "Jet puffed? Why did you get jet puffed?" I said, "Honey, I don't know. I didn't know they could puff them any other way." Like he was suddenly an expert on the puffing of the marshmallow. There's so many. Damn it, not the jet puff. And the thing about me is I was like busted. I just threw up my hands right away. You're right. I'm the kind of mom who would be foolish enough to get the jet puff.
Yes, maybe someone else's mom would get generic marshmallows, but not me. Yeah. I paid full price.
Get the goddamn jet puffed. And I know the pilot who flew the jet. All right, thank you so much.
Funny.
It's fun.
Thank you. You're a legend. Have a great tour.
All right, take care. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Paula Poundstone's Leftovers. Paula is on tour right now. Go to paulapoundstone.com to get tickets. The Leftovers and Your Last Meal are both products of Seattle's Cascade PBS. This episode was mixed and mastered by Sarah Bernard with editing and production assistance from Maliha Syed. Original theme music by Prom Queen. I created, host, and co-produced The Leftovers and Your Last Meal. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you could do us a favor and please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It's a free way to support the show, and it actually helps get the podcast out to more people. And next time you fly Alaska Airlines, look for Your Last Meal in their in-flight entertainment. I have selected 10 of my favorite episodes for you to listen to, and there are 10 more on the way. I'm Rachel Bell, and this is The Leftovers. You know who has the best airplane snacks? Alaska Airlines. Duh. Their signature fruit and cheese platter with Beecher's and Tillamook cheeses, farm-to-bar chocolates from Cho, and Seattle's Fremont Brewing even makes a special IPA just for Alaska passengers to enjoy. And starting May 12th, Alaska is offering daily nonstop flights between Seattle and Tokyo. Starting in October, nonstop service between Seattle and Seoul. Alaska Airlines has teamed up with Hawaiian Airlines. So satisfy your cravings for Japan and book your trip now at alaskaair.com and hawaiianairlines.com.